Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Deerfield Beach Computer Club Zoom meeting. I'm your host and president of the Deerfield Beach Computer Club since 2005. My name is Barry Cowan, and I want to welcome you all. Today we have some good weather to report. The other day, as I mentioned, when people were coming in, we had 9 or 10 inches of rain here in the Margate area. It was pretty much a mess, but we're looking forward to good weather and good friends. I want to thank everyone who gave a generous donation to the club. We appreciate it, but your presence is worth far more to me than money in the bank. And we're going to make some changes. I want you to mark down December 8th as our next meeting. We'll be placing an article into the CVE Reporter for those of you who live in Century Village. That will be out, and it will feature some things that we're going to be discussing. We're very interested on focusing on what you individually want us to present. Remember to keep that in mind. We know we're a club that contains many types of technology, but I fully realize that we have not met the needs of many members, and that's why perhaps they're not attending. But today we've got 14 or 15. That's more than double of what we had the last meeting. Okay, so I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and there's so much about Black Friday that does not need to be said. But right now, don't wait for Black Friday. Sales are ongoing everywhere you can think of. Amazon, Target, Best Buy, all the other stores are already holding sales. And I believe people are going to spend a lot of money this holiday. But remember that with Black Friday, there are a lot of scams coming up, and fraud is very active. So please be alert. Be careful who you're speaking to these days with AI. They can mimic a voice of somebody and an image. Be very careful. If you receive something that's suspicious, don't open it. You don't know who it's from, don't open it. Don't download anything that has an attachment that you have no knowledge of, because scammers and fraudsters are very active at the moment as we speak. More on that later on. Okay. By the way, I think Hanukkah's coming on December 7th, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So if you're celebrate that, I wish you a happy Hanukkah as well, because our meeting will take place right after on that date, the 8th. And the 7th, of course, is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Another thing that I'd like to forget, but okay. So given that, if you don't have any questions, or if you do have questions, please remember to use the chat room, chat board, as all of the people will be muted during, to make sure that we don't have any background interference with the recording. Okay, today's presenter, Jerry Rogan, has presented to us before, just not too long ago, gave an excellent presentation on Apple. And he served in the US Air Force as a software engineer. After the service, he started his own software company, which was later sold to Eagle Technology in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He served as national sales manager and then became the CEO of Souls Limited in North America until his retirement. He's now a snowbird and spending his summers in Iowa with his family and winters in Arizona. He enjoys golf and is the past president of the Sunland Springs Village Technology Group in Mesa, Arizona. He is nationally recognized as APCU's expert on Apple ecosystem products. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to present to you today's guest speaker and my friend and co-host, Jerry Rogan. Let's give him a sitting ovation, everybody.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Glad to be back with your group. Barry's always fun to talk to. Well, all you East Coast people, it takes me a while to get used to your accent, but I finally figured it out. So Especially Helene. I love Helene's voice. So, okay. Barry did mention December 8th. I'm not going to step on his toes and tell you what's happening, but I think you're going to be interested in that meeting. I really do. So, okay, let me get my screen up. We're going to talk about iOS 17 first today, and then I'll hang around. We can talk about a few other new things that are coming on board with Apple. Let me get my show going here.
Okay, I better mute everybody. Everybody, please mute yourselves at this time. Help me out there.
I'm trying to get rid of all your pictures on the side of my screen.
Okay.
It's kind of strange because somebody mentioned an upgrade to Zoom, and they have had an update, and I'm noticing a few of the things have changed quite a bit. So
Yep, that's right. The gallery view, you can use, just the speaker view, or you can hide your view.
yeah. Okay. I still can't get the names off the side of my screen, so I can't see my entire presentation here. Let me try one more thing.
See if there's a view menu up there, up at the top, that box in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It's changed to more now. It just says more.
Yeah, I'm the same problem. I just moved mine over to the left-hand side and it'll go partway off the screen.
Yeah, the problem is I need my whole screen. Oh, here we go. Maybe I can do it this way. I just moved something.
Okay.
No, that didn't work either. How strange. They come up with these, they call them upgrades.
Yes.
There we go. Hide video panel, it's now called. So
I call them upsets. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, can everybody see my screen? What?
Gotcha.
Not yet?
Yep.
Oh, you
Yes.
can. Okay, good. Well,
Perfect.
I'm not going to read every word. It's boring when a presenter reads every word.
Right.
But Barry will have a copy of this presentation, of course, and then I will also send him a PDF. So if there's anything you want to see, Barry will have the PDF of the entire presentation. So, but basically, iOS 17 really, it had some extremely neat features with it, but it wasn't a sweeping change like they are now promising for iOS 18 next year. They're saying that's going to be a revolutionary update to the Apple system. So iOS 17 was not revolutionary, but it certainly has some nice features. Well over 300, 350 to 400 enhancements. Some little things you just notice as you start to use it. And some of the things are fairly major. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about all that. But this particular upgrade, the iOS 17, seems to focus on communications like messages, FaceTime, voicemail, and phone. So we'll go talk about that as we go through it. Now, before I get too far into it, I do want to mention, because your device supports iOS 17, it doesn't mean it supports all the features. Some of the features require an A12 Bionic processor or later, which is basically the iPhone 12 or newer. So if you've got an iPhone 11, some of the things we're going to talk about, you may not be able to do. And I'll also mention there were a few things when I made this presentation, there were a few things that Apple didn't release with iOS 17 that they promised by the end of the year. And they are starting to filter through now. So and we talked a little bit about Apple's marketing strategy. They will come out with a new phone or a new iPad or something, and then they'll come out with an operating system that uses something that requires that processor. And that's how they force us to upgrade, even when we don't want to or feel it's necessary. Personally, I upgrade everything about every 3 years, and that's about as often as I'll do it. But we're going to see upgrades to messages, phone, and FaceTime. I'm going to show you a thing called standby mode, an option to create animated stickers from live photos, improved autocorrect. They really did improve autocorrect a great deal. And if you have iOS 17 and you type messages or emails or something, you will notice the autocorrect improvements instantly. No more hey for Siri activation. Interactive widgets, mood tracking, and journaling are two new items. We're going to talk a little bit about those. Shared AirTags and AirPods improvements, FaceTime and Apple TV and continuity camera, and so much more. We're not going to talk about all of it, but a lot of it. You've all seen this picture in the ads, I'm sure, and it shows you the standby mode and the new way to pass things back and forth from one phone to another and so on and so forth. We're going to talk about most of that. Standby mode to me wasn't a major feature, but it's a feature that I truly enjoy. And in order to get to standby mode with iOS 17, you have to go to settings, go to standby, and simply click it on, as you'll see on the right side of the screen. That's all there is to activating standby mode. Once you activate standby, it's actually kind of fun. Most photos show the iPhone on a MagSafe stand, which does work very well, but you can also use any charger as long as your phone is in the lock mode and turned on its side. It works great on a desktop, kitchen counter, bedside table, what have you. Now, if you don't have an iPhone with always on display, which it would be the iPhone 14 Pro or 15 Pro, the display will go dark in about 20 seconds. I've got this thing on a MagSafe charger, not the one shown, but on my nightstand at nighttime. And my screen goes blank after about 20 seconds. Well, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I want to see what time it is, I just simply have to tap my nightstand and it will come up and light up for 20 seconds and show me the time. So it's very handy that way. And it's also my clock radio and my alarm clock. It's replaced everything that I needed. Now you can modify what shows on the display. For example, here I've got a picture of my granddaughter and my two great-granddaughters and the temperature. I've got another charger on my desk and I may have this showing part of the day. It'll show me the status of my battery and so forth. Or I can have it show the stock market and the temperature. All I have to do is tap the display and change it, or swipe it left or right or up or down. They're totally manageable on this standby mode. This is what my clock looks like. Well, not really. I mean, I have the time showing to me at nighttime in big letters like that, but mine is all red, so it doesn't bother anybody. And you see on the left, there's a nighttime clock with the temperature, if that's what you want on your nightstand. So it really is standby is a very nice feature. It gives you an enormous amount of options. And to change any of these options, you simply put your finger on the display, the right or left side, whatever you want to change, and long hold it. Just put your finger on it and press down and hold it. You will then come up with options and you can change what is showing there. So it's very neat.
Jerry,
Nice. Yes.
just want to mention briefly that you may or may not have these features on your particular phone or iPad or whatever, but for those of you who do, realize that sometimes everything is different as Apple develops stuff. Sometimes the software isn't updated in time for the hardware and vice versa. So keep that in mind.
I like
Yes.
the big one.
Yeah. Well,
big one's good.
You know, it's kind of funny, but since iOS 17 has come out, there have been 4 additional releases in this short amount of time.
Wow.
So they have made some changes to some of these features. They have found some bugs on, maybe a bug on an iPhone 15 Pro Max or something. So, but there have been about 4 upgrades. We're now on the most current version is iOS 17.1.1.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not what you have, you really do, if you can upgrade, you really do need to upgrade to it. Because there were some and we don't talk much about it, but there were some good security upgrades in there too.
Correct.
And for iPhone security, just I've mentioned this before, if you really want the best security you can have, keep your system updated as high as you can update it.
Marcia had a question here. Is iOS 17, is it specifically for, let me see, people who are charged for charging? How is that maintained? Do you have to be plugged in to charge or the iPhone or whatever?
To get the upgrade, you mean?
Yeah.
Let me back up a little bit here. Oh, I thought I had a slide that, I guess I don't. I thought I had a slide that showed what phones could be upgraded. No,
Okay.
you'll be notified that you can upgrade. Yes, it's best to have your phone on a charger when you do the upgrade, because 17 does take a while to upgrade. And I talked a little bit about a MagSafe chargers, which is what you need for these things. Basically, it's a magnetic charger. It's a wireless charger. And you just lay your phone on it, and the magnet holds it up there and it charges it. Now, if you've got an older phone, say an iPhone 12 with an older case on it, that's not MagSafe, and how you can tell is take the case off. If there's a circle inside the back of the case, it's MagSafe. That's the magnetic part. If it's just the case, you need to probably get a new case if you get a MagSafe charger. So I did want to mention that as well. And yeah, this white charger that Apple sells, it's fairly pricey. And I'm probably like the rest of you, I try and be as frugal as I can. So I buy these chargers on Amazon for like $25. So just keep that in mind. But that's what the MagSafe charger is for. But I do like that I can have an inexpensive charger on my desk and another one on my bedside. It makes my life very convenient. Because at my desk, I can be playing background music and while my phone is still charging, so I don't discharge my phone at all. It's just really kind of nice. Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about, it is not new with iOS 17, but it has a big part to play with iOS 17 with some of the features. And that's removing backgrounds in a photograph. This particular photo is of me dressed as a pirate for my two great-granddaughters at Halloween. Every year I dress up as something different and they never know what I'll be. I was the Grinch this year. But anyway, if you look at this photo, there's a busy background. I'm a stained glass artist too, and I make lamps and window things, and it kind of took away from the photo. So if you long press on, like on my belly, just hold your finger on my belly, you'll see a white line come around my image as shown here. At the top of that, you'll see a little display that says copy, add sticker, or share. In this case, I copied it. This was with iOS 16. And this is the photograph I ended up with. So I was able to use that in some of my emails to show some of my friends what I did this year. I kind of have a reputation for this, so my friends like to see what happened. And, you know, the truth of the matter is I'm just trying to make memories for my great-granddaughters because I won't be here that long. So anyway, keep in mind to remove a background, if you have iOS 16 or 17, long press on the object you want, and it can be a human, it can be a pet, it can be a lot of different things. We took a picture of a Roadrunner on my front patio this week. And of course, I had my house and that in the background. Well, I didn't want that, so I long pressed on the Roadrunner. I got a picture like I do on the right. So I now have that as a sticker. So remember, long press to remove backgrounds. The reason you might want to do that is because iOS 17 now allows you to make what they call contact posters. So when you phone somebody or text somebody or email somebody, they can see this contact poster that you've created. And what's nice about it is you can create more than one. You can create a funny contact poster for your family and friends, but you can then create another contact poster. Say you want to send something to a business associate. So you might want to dress up and make another contact poster. Now, the only thing I'll say about contact posters is they do only work iOS 17 to iOS 17. So if if you're texting somebody with an Android phone, forget it. It won't happen. But if they have iOS 17, you'll use this. And is it a major feature? No. Is it a fun feature? Yeah, I've had some fun with it. Fact is, I made a contact poster with the girls in my pirate outfit. So contact posters is something new on iOS 17. Yes, today it only works 17 to 17, but in the future it'll work on much more. Now, to create a contact poster, and this will be in the PDF that I'll send to Barry, but you open the Contacts app, tap on My Card at the very top of the page. It'll have your name on it. You can then tap on Contact Poster, Photo and Poster, tap on Edit, tap on Customize, tap on Poster, and pick the picture you want or whatever, and then you can crop it and so forth. You can also change the font on the name. So there's a lot you can do, but this is what the people that I now telephone or message, this is what they see so they know who's calling them. Kind of a slick feature. But again, I use that, remove the background just to get my picture, and then I could pick the shade of what I wanted here. Looks like I have a bowling shirt on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not, it's a golf shirt. So yeah, the phone screen has also changed. I want to point this out. If you look at the bottom of this image on the left, you're going to see where you can change it from a internal speaker to external speaker, or even to Bluetooth if you're in your car. You can do FaceTime, you can mute, you can bring up your contact list. The main thing here is that to disconnect the call, you no longer have that big red button at the top of the screen. You have the little red button in the middle of the bottom of the screen. So that's one of the major changes they did on 17. A lot of belly aching about it. I'm going to be honest with you, when I upgraded, I found no difficulty at all in adapting to that change. And then you'll also notice that when you look up a contact, that the buttons on this screen have also changed. So you've still got messaging and phone and FaceTime and all that. But the one I like is the one on the far right that says you can send me money.
Yeah.
I always joke about that when I make these presentations, because we don't get paid diddly do. This particular presentation, just so you might want to know, it's, when other presenters come on, it frequently takes us anywhere from 12 to 20 hours to put a presentation together. So we often want to use that money button, but APCUG won't allow us to. But so the buttons at the bottom of the screen have changed. Again, now to create a personal sticker, and why would you want to do this? Well, you can, again, long press on the body, that white line will come, it flashes around your image, and you can say add sticker. So now if you're texting somebody, you can go ahead and in this little box with the plus sign, you can go ahead and start to type your message. But then you want to click on that plus sign on the left side of your message box. A little menu will pop up, and you can then click on stickers, and you can add that sticker to your message. So what you see where it says, hey, how are you? And my picture at the top, that's what will go out to the person I'm sending the message to. So you can make these stickers, again, of a human, a pet, a flower, whatever you want it to be of. And you can have a whole panel of stickers here to choose from. So it's kind of fun. By the way, if you click on that plus sign, you could also click on camera and take your picture and have that picture be part of your message. You can go to photos. You can go to stickers, which is what I've done here. Again, you can go to Apple Cache, audio, location, and more. All of these are, you can move all of these up and down to make that list read the way you want it to read. And the reason I mention that is, we'll go back to that menu that comes up with stickers and so forth. If you, Okay, yeah, you can click on location. I'll go through that first. You can pick your location on a map and you can share it with whoever you're messaging, or you can ask them to give you their location and you can then follow them. Now that creeps some people out saying, well, I don't want to be followed, blah, 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 blah. But at times it's nice, and you can say indefinitely until the end of the day, or you can say just share my location for 1 hour. That's the key to this sharing the location. Sue and I, my partner, we share locations with each other because I'm a bike rider, and if I fall and get hurt somewhere, I want her to know about it and where I'm at. But yeah, if Joe Blow wants your location so he can meet you somewhere, you don't want him to have it forever, so you just click on for 1 hour. It's a nice feature. Now, when that menu comes up that was on the previous screen, this menu here where it's got stickers and all that, if you scroll up, you'll get another menu that will give you a store and all sorts of things. One of the things I like on this extended menu is check-in, which is a new feature of iOS 17. Now, what I've done on my phone is I've actually taken check-in and I've clicked on it, held my finger down, and it then allows me to move it up, and I actually made it part of that front menu so I don't have to scroll through menus very often. I love to watch the kids using their fingers to tap and slide and all that, but I get tired of doing it. So anyway, I like check-in. When you use check-in, and we're all kind of older adults, but when our kids come to visit and then they take off to go home, you always say, hey, text me when you get home so I know you made it. The problem is when they get home, they're unloading suitcases or they're unloading kids or they're doing something, and they always forget to text. Well, if you use check-in, you can send them a message, say, please tell me when you get home, or check in, and they can click on that and send you a message and say, okay, I should be home around 6:25. When they get home, you will receive a message automatically saying, so-and-so has arrived at their destination. So the kids don't have to remember to do that. Or in some cases, we don't have to remember to text our kids. The other thing you can do besides telling them what time you might be home is you can actually pick a location so that they'll know when you reach that location. And if for some reason you don't make that location in a reasonable amount of time, they will get a text that says you're still en route, and they can then see where you're at, see if you've had a flat tire or an accident or something like that. And if all goes well and you get to your location in time, they will receive a text that you've made it to that location. My daughter lives about 9.5 hours from me. Sometimes she'll take off later in the day, and I worry about her getting home, her and her husband. So we have been using check-in, and I love it. It's just a really, really good feature. An earth-shattering feature, no, but certainly convenient. You can also add a photograph to your message if you're out at the Grand Canyon and you've taken a spectacular photograph, you want to send it home to somebody, you can do that. The menu selection is right there. Again, all you have to do is while your message box is on the screen, click on that plus sign on the left. Okay, while we're on photos, another neat change that came on iOS 17. On the left, you're going to see a picture of me at I forget what they call it. It's down in Maricopa, Arizona, but it's a miniature car museum. And the guy's got about 15 cars there that he's made from all old refrigerators and stoves. It's an incredible place to visit. It's a free museum, and you go down there and you have a ball. So I took a picture next to this old whatever it was. And if you touch that picture, if you look at the top right on the right side of the screen, you're going to see the word crop. That is the most used editing feature that Apple has decided we use. So you just touch the photo and you can use crop, and you can now crop that photo. So you can see the difference between the left and right. I've just cropped it. I didn't have to go into photos and edit and everything else. I just had to touch crop and I could crop it out. That's the kind of changes you're going to see in iOS 17. A lot of them are very convenient for things we normally do. They've just made it a lot easier for us. By the way, if any of you are ever in the Phoenix area, you might want to go to this museum. It's really cool. The day before we were there, Jay Leno was there, and he brought the big guy that was, everybody loves Raymond, the brother, he's like 6'6". These cars are actually built on go-kart frames and drivable. And I guess it was quite funny to see this big guy get in one of the cars, but he did, and he drove it. So it's kind of a fun place. Not that I want to take anything away from Florida. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Okay, when you receive a call from somebody, let's say that you don't know who they are, but you're receiving the call, and normally you would slide that green phone over to answer it. If you look just above that on the right in this photograph, you're going to see a little button that says voicemail. If somebody calls you and you don't know who it is, you can tap that voicemail button and they will be sent directly to your voicemail. There's the button right there. Now, if they leave a message while you're holding the phone, you can see what they're saying while they're saying it. And if you say, oh yeah, this is the doctor's office, I want to talk to him, you can then hit the green button and talk to him. This takes us back a few years to when we all had answering machines. And sometimes our phone would ring and we'd kind of listen to who is it calling before we pick up the phone. That's what this does. I have used it probably 10 times since iOS 17 came out. When I would receive a call and I did not know who it was, I would hit the voicemail. And ironically, I've recently had shoulder surgery. And quite frankly, a lot of times it was my doctor's office calling to remind me of an appointment or to go to physical therapy or something. So super neat feature. Earth-shattering? No, but extremely convenient. And again, it's part of iOS 17. I thought it was kind of cool to bounce back to the answering machine thing. AirDrop. I don't know how many of you use AirDrop if you want to share a photograph or a file. But with iOS 17 now, you don't have to go through all this sharing and all that stuff. You just say, I want to share this photo, hold it close to the phone you want to share it with, and bingo, it's gone.
Let's not forget the privacy issue involved with that, Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah, you can set this up for contacts only or however you want to do it. I happen to have mine set up for contacts only, so I can only do it with people who I know. The other thing I'll mention is this will only work iOS 17 to iOS 17. Now, it kind of works the same way for name drop. If you see somebody who's not on your contact list and they say, well, can I have your contact information? You can look up your contact card and say, share it, and hold it near to their phone, and they will receive your contact information only, whatever you have on your contact card. So I can do that with anybody who has iOS 17.
And you can send them photos and videos and other things too.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So it's something new. When iOS 17 first came out, it didn't work all that great. Now through the last 4 upgrades, Sue and I use it frequently to pass photos back and forth, and it works flawlessly. It's really a nice feature. Yeah, here we're talking about AirDrop. You can bring up a picture that you want, click on the share button, bring your phone next to, and I found this kind of odd, and maybe I'm wrong, but in order to use AirDrop, you actually have to hold your phones like it's shown here, side by side, and it will AirDrop. If you're dropping like your contact card, you actually have to hold your phone similar to this image. I haven't done a lot of experimenting with this, but I found that kind of odd. This works for name drop, but this works for AirDrop. But it works really slick, saves a bit of time, and we use a lot.
We have two questions, Jerry.
Okay.
The first one is from Judy Brown, says, I have iOS 17.1.1, but I don't have any of the screens that you are showing. I have iPhone 13, is that why?
It shouldn't be. With iPhone 13, you should be able to do, well, yeah. So, no, you should be able to do it all on iPhone 13, I think. It might have something to do with your settings.
Okay.
Because some of the stuff you do have to go into general and or settings and in general or wherever and set them up.
One more question from Marcia Reindorf says, so many ways to message. Which one are you using?
You know, when you send a message to somebody, if it comes up in blue on your phone, you're sending it to an iPhone. If it comes up green, you're sending it to an Android phone. And I don't know if you knew that. Most of the time, 95% of the time, I use messages on the iPhone. But Sue's got a son who is 100% Android guy, and I have to use Messenger from Facebook to get to him.
I've always wondered.
Can't you send a link to the Android phone? Is that what you do? You send a link that they can open on their phone?
Well, sure, you can send a link to anybody, and that'll work on Android or iPhone.
Okay.
But when you do send a message, that's the reason there's green and blue. And except for Sue's son, everybody else I text, I use Apple's messages. And I do that mostly for secure reasons.
Understood.
Always wondered that.
Yep,
I
good.
got to learn something today.
Hey, then this has been a success for us, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember,
Okay, the feature on iOS 17, it has to do with Apple Maps. Apple Maps now calculate routes based on EV charge availability. You can also download maps for use offline. Any of you who have ever driven across country or across state or whatever, every now and then you'll hit a pocket where you have no internet. Well, by being able to download the map offline, you will not lose your directions. So, it's kind of a nice feature. I travel a lot in Minnesota and Wisconsin in the summertime, and I frequently hit pockets where there's no internet. So I used this last summer and it worked great. Now, to use it, if you look at the picture on the left, you'll see my pretty face sitting there before I had my goatee. You have to click on your face to activate this. So you would click on my face, you would get the message in the middle screen. You can then click on offline maps and then go and find the map that you want to download. So you search for the map and you bring it up and you click on download. It's now downloaded to your phone or your iPad so that you've got an offline map in case you run into some of these dead areas. Kind of a nice feature, not something we'll all use and not something we'll all use regularly, but when you need it. And here in Arizona, I showed you that road that Forrest Gump ran on. That was in Monument Valley. That's up on Utah border. I want to tell you, between Phoenix and Utah border, I think there's one gas station and nothing else. So that's where I would use the offline maps.
It's still there?
Yeah, yeah. So you do have to click on your face to get to it. Then you would click on offline maps, and then you would download that map. Fairly simple. Cool. Okay, interactive widgets. This is something new on iOS 17. We've had widgets for a long time. But if you'll recall, when you looked up a widget before 17, you tapped on that widget, and what it did was then open the app. If you tapped on the weather widget here, it would open the weather app. It no longer does that. It opens up so it looks like the app, but you're still working with the widget. And when you just click on the X to close the widget, you don't have to exit applications or anything else. So I do like the interactive widgets, particularly like the traffic one. you can bring that up and it knows where you're at you've got your location turned on. It'll tell you what the traffic situation is, if there's an accident and so forth. Out here in Arizona, we have a lot of 6 and 8 lane interstates. So that's a very nice feature if you're going to travel during rush hour. But that's interactive widgets. I've got one for the stock market. I can tap on it. I can see what the stock's doing. I can see what my investments are doing. Click on the X and it's gone. I haven't opened any other application. So nice feature. Earth shattering, as I said in my first slide, it's not earth shattering, but it's a very nice feature. Oh, here's one. We always used to have to, and again, you have to set this up in settings, but you used to be able to say, hey, Siri, and you know what, no, she didn't come on good. She came on my phone next to me. You no longer have to say, hey, it's just stop, Siri. Okay. It's like when I give a presentation on the Apple Watch, I'm constantly saying that, and that gets me in trouble. You no longer have to say the hey, you can just simply say Siri. And again, she just popped up on my phone while I'm doing this, but the hay has disappeared.
Hey's gone.
When I give a presentation on the introduction to home security, I talk a lot about Alexa. I've now had to go to calling her Miss A, so she doesn't activate every time I open my mouth. Nice feature. Just say Siri. When I'm driving and my phone's in the car, it's just nice to say Siri, give me directions to here, and it all pops up on my phone, or Siri calls somebody. I don't have to touch anything. I don't have to remember anything. I just have to say Siri. Okay, FaceTime. And if you'll notice, I'm going through some of these applications a little quick. There's a lot to cover in 17. So, but let's say that I was calling Sue a FaceTime call and she wasn't available. She wasn't answering. At that time, I can click this little green button that says call again, or I can click on the other one and I can actually leave her an audio message that I called. You couldn't do that on FaceTime prior to iOS 17. So I don't use FaceTime a lot except to call my granddaughter and my great-granddaughters or my kids, but occasionally they can't answer, so I like to leave them a message. I might say something like, I'm just calling to say hello, you don't have to call me back, or whatever it is, but they then get that message. Again, not earth-shattering, but nice. Visual lookup. This has been around for a while, but it's greatly improved with iOS 17. If you've got a photograph, like I've got a photograph of a cactus here. You guys don't have those in Florida, I don't think, but I've got a photograph of a cactus. I want to know more about it. At the bottom of my iPhone screen, I can click on this little circle here to get information. And it'll run out and it'll come back and it'll tell me, this is a prickly pear. It tells me the date I took it. It shows me where I took the photograph and so forth. I have done this with I would get a meal in a restaurant and I would take a picture of the meal and click on the information button. I can get the recipe for that meal if it recognizes it. So it's Sue, she takes a lot of flower pictures because she doesn't know what they are, and then she looks them up and then she knows what they are. I don't know what she does with the information, but thankfully she's not filling the house up with cactus. It's a nice feature. Remember, that's what this little button here is for. It brings up information about whatever photograph you're looking at. I shouldn't say every time, but almost every time. It's pretty darn good. Sometimes they'll just say, I don't recognize anything. Okay, and then on the health app, I hope all of you are using, all of you who have an iPhone or now an iPad are using your health application. I would be absolutely lost without it. My phone reminds me, or my watch reminds me when I have to take a pill and so on and so forth. And that reminder doesn't go away until you say, okay, I've taken it. I'm done with it. But one of the new things in iOS 17, while I'm on this, I have to, if you've got an Apple Watch, it's great for if you fall, measuring blood ox and so forth. I have a whole 35, 40-minute presentation on what the Apple Watch can do. So you might keep that in mind for in the future. Anyway, one of the new things they've added in iOS 17 is mental well-being. And you can get anxiety risks or depression risks or state of the mind. I thought I was going into depression after this shoulder surgery. For 8 weeks. I've been wearing a sling and couldn't do anything. But anyway, it's kind of slick. You can say, how do you feel right now? And you can type in your answer. And then you can choose, or you can choose it from a sliding thing, very pleasant. You can click on whatever's on the right. And it will kind of track if you're headed towards a depression, or you're headed to anxiety, or you're in anxiety. I haven't used it a great deal. I've played with it a little bit. Actually, I find it kind of nice. I really do. So that's something new on iOS 17. And it's called mental well-being.
I like it.
If you'll notice here, there's like a mobility thing. If you're starting to wobble when you walk, that will come up and tell you that be careful. It looks like you're headed to a fall or something. There's a lot of neat things on the health app you might want to consider.
That's a category. I just found it under browse. There's a whole list.
Yes.
And there is one called mental well-being, among medications, respiratory, whatever it is. You can get that on the health app.
You can. And I happen to be a patient of the Veteran Administration, but I also have a civilian doctor. It's kind of nice because when I either go see the VA or I go to my civilian doctor, when they enter their notes, they're automatically transferred to my health app. So I have a full picture of everything that's going on with me.
Is that the one with the heart on it?
Yeah, you can do that too.
Oh, is that what does the app look like? I'm sorry. I missed what the app looked like. Or is that just in 17?
It has
No,
a
it's
heart.
not. It's not. It was in earlier versions of the iPhone system, but not the iPad. Now it's also on the iPad. And
Okay.
the icon for it looks like a red heart with a white circle around
Yeah,
it.
okay. I know it. Okay, I got it. Thanks.
And to me, I'm a true believer that all of us seniors ought to be wearing some kind of smartwatch that can show us our oxygen levels, maybe do an ECG or EKG, tell when we fall, tell when we're walking strangely, and so forth. So I'm all the smartphones have some kind of health app. Yes, I live in the Apple ecosystem, so I have Apple, but I think every senior ought to have a smartwatch on.
Agreed.
I joked with some ladies the other night. We were out to dinner, about 15 of us, and all golfing friends. And two of the ladies were dressed just really nice. They looked really super. They both had on these big black Apple watches. And I was teasing them about how it's not quite a fashion statement. And they said, no, we're thinking about taking it off at night and putting on a nice watch. But regardless of what it looks like, it's what it does for you that counts.
Got it.
I'm a very big proponent of that. I'm 78 years old and I want all the help I can get. Okay, one of the other things new on iOS 17 is you can share your AirTags. And I don't know how many of you use AirTags. I've just recently started using them in the last year or two. I love the fact that we can put an AirTag in a suitcase or a backpack or a purse or in the car. You can always see where these things are. They all work through Find My on your phone. I hope all of you have Find My activated and you've got your phone in that logged in. So you can look up you can find people. When I want to see where Sue is, if she's out golfing, I want to see how soon she's done. I may click on people and then I'll click on her name and it'll show me the golf course where she's at, so I'll know how soon she's done. You've got devices that will list your iPad, your iPhone, your Apple Watch, any Apple device you have will show up when you click on that second icon at the bottom, devices. When you click on the third icon, that's items. So here you can see I have an AirTag in my backpack, on my bike, on my keychain, and so forth. And I could scroll up and you could see more. Last year was the first year I put one in a suitcase and a backpack, and it was when we went to, Alaska. We were changing hotels frequently during our ground tour, And every time we left a hotel, we just had to set our bag outside the room and they would collect it and so on and so forth. When we got on the bus or the boat or wherever we were going, I wanted to make sure our suitcases were with. So I could not only look up my suitcase or my backpack to make sure it was on board, but I could scroll up this list and I could also see if Sue's suitcase and backpack was on board. So it's a very nice feature. These things are coming down in price. I think you can get 4 of them for about $79 now or something like that. They take a 2032 battery. There's one included with it. It lasts about a year. You pop off the cover, put in a new one, and you're good for another year.
Right. Work just like the tiles, right?
Just like the tiles, yes.
Got
Except this works with Find My on the. I did try the tiles, and they worked okay. I thought for Apple anyway, I thought the AirTags worked a little bit better.
Jerry, we have a
When are you
question.
gonna make those AirTags more exact of the
Right.
location? Because I had one in a car that went to a repair shop and the car came back and the AirTag didn't, and it's still there. And I don't know exact, I might be with the person who was repairing the car, or it might be somebody else in their neighborhood who is also there, but I can't get anyone, even the police, to exactly find out where that AirTag is, but I know it's there.
Well, possibly the battery died.
No, the battery's fine. It's showing me where it's at.
Okay.
Long
Okay.
after the car is left, the AirTag is still there, and it doesn't give me an exact location, so I can pinpoint it on the repairman or his neighbor or somebody else in the
Yeah.
area that took it.
Okay.
Okay, let's hold that
Now,
for
so-
after the,
So what happens in this case? Well, first of all, I just read a news article. I think it's Washington, D.C. and some city in Michigan.
Giving them away in DC, yes.
Yes, they're giving them away for people to put in their car. And they
That's right.
say it has significantly improved recovery of stolen vehicles.
Yeah,
Now, the trick is, as far as I'm concerned, and if you can afford it, put 2 of them in your car in 2 different places. And if the bad guys steal your car and they find that AirTag and they throw it out, they haven't found the second one. So just
Yeah.
keep that in mind too.
good
And I
idea.
have my granddaughter, when her daughters go off to school, they each have a backpack. They each have an AirTag in their backpack, so my granddaughter can see where her kids are at all times.
Right.
okay, we have another question here. How do we set the health app for 2 different people if we share an email address?
I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
I can't think of a way to do that. It's an interesting question. Barry, you have some warped people in attendance. They have warped minds, so.
Yeah.
None of
That's
us
a
think in a
lot.
straight line.
You know,
Okay.
but that is an excellent question, and I'll be honest with you, I'll research it, and if I find something out, I'll let Barry know.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I think it basically applies to one person. I mean, I think when Apple designed that, they assumed that we each had our own iPhone and we could each track our own thing. I
okay, how
don't think
much?
it's possible, but I'll certainly look into it, and that is an excellent question.
Yeah.
Great.
Agreed.
Okay, let's stay on the topic
Okay.
here. How much more do we have, Jerry?
Not much.
Okay,
Not much. Oh, I wanted to show you what you do when you go to find my, like Jerry's keys. I can share this AirTag so then Sue could see where my keys were as well. So Find My is a wonderful thing. We go play cards quite frequently here, and probably 2 or 3 times a year, she'll forget her phone someplace. We'll get halfway home on the golf cart and have to do immediate U-turn and go back and get her phone because she's notified or I'm notified that she left her phone behind. Find My is a nice app. Okay, Journal. This is the one I guess it's just come out. I have played with it a little bit. There are a lot of journaling apps out there. Apple does not come up to snuff to the others, but it does look at your emails and this and that and the other, and it helps you compose what you did for the day. I've recently written a book about my life, and I'm not writing anymore about my life, so I don't use Journal, but it's there. It may not work the way you want it to right now, but I expect in the next few releases, it will be quite nice. Okay, Spotlight, if you're trying to search on something, if you look on your main screen on your iPhone, look at the very bottom. It's called Spotlight Search, and you click on that, type in what you're looking for, and you'll get everywhere that it's found listed just by typing in whatever you're looking for. Nice new feature. They cleaned that up quite a bit. Okay, privacy and security. About the main change here is that you can now go into your settings and say communication safety and blah, blah, blah. What this will do is stop nude photos from coming your way or anything lewd. It will just stop before it ever gets to you. That's kind of the main thing here. Okay, also accessibility, reminders and notes. I have now used reminders and notes. They've made a convert of me. I use those extensively. Fitness has a lot of changes. I'm a bicyclist. It now tells me not only how far I've gone, but how much elevation I've had and everything, how my speed and everything else. Photos has changed quite a bit. Autocorrect has changed quite a bit. So those are things that come in iOS 17 that I think you'll really enjoy. As I say, none of them are earth-shattering, but they're all great. Okay, if there's any more questions, I'm going to stop the slideshow and
Okay.
get back to where I was.
I've got something I'd like to share or tell everybody. You know that there is a Tips app on the iPhone. Tips, T-I-P-S. That is totally updated to iOS 17, and it contains the entire Apple Help Manual and the Apple Watch manual on it. Would you like me to show you? I'll be more than happy to do that. One moment. Let's see if I could share my screen here. Go to my iPhone or iPad.
I have a presentation just on the health app. That's how much it can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've seen. Well, I went through the new watches that came out, particularly because I'm an old diver, and oh my God, the stuff that they have, the capabilities they can put on that thing are killer.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Hey, when you buy
Okay.
an Apple Watch, you're not buying a watch. You're buying a computer that's on your wrist.
Oh, it's more than my computer.
Oh yeah.
Do you all see this now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, now if you go to Apple, I have it under tips. If you go to tips, you're going to see a whole list of updated tips from navigating your phone. Everything that Jerry's discussed today is there and then some. For example, what's new in iOS 17? You can actually go through each one of these things and it will show you how to do it step by step. Here's an entire manual user guide for the iPhone, updated. I don't know how many pages it is, but everything. You can go to recipes, there's fitness, there's everything that Jerry discussed and then some. And there's a special one on the Apple Watch user guide, and there's a revised table of contents for that. I believe that app is standard on everybody's iPhone regardless. The Tips app, there's also support there for everything that Jerry talked about. And okay, let's go on. I'm going to stop my share.
As I said, now 17 has made some incredible improvements. Just nothing earth-shattering. The Tips is an excellent. I'm glad you brought that up, Barry.
Steve, what is your question?
Yes, on accessibility, I have a voice control on, but I find out that I want to text somebody, it's picking up television noise or whatever and dictating it onto the text. Any way to stop that from listening to when I want to use my text message while I'm watching TV?
You have to mute the TV. I had the same problem.
Okay, that's a good answer. TV, so you can't have any other sound around you when you want to text, because that phone is listening to everything, right?
Oh, I've got the TV in another room completely with sliding doors in between the two of it, and I've come back often while I'm trying to write one of my white papers, and it's got half of MSNBC all the way written down the screen.
He's doing his own dictation.
Really?
Oh boy, that's true. Okay, thank you.
Okay, folks. Yes, Marcia.
Marcia, you have a question?
Yeah, when you were talking about various things for photos, you were talking about the Apple phone's own photo setup, not Google Photos, right?
That's correct.
Okay, because
On the
on Google
iPad or the
Photos-
iPhone?
Okay. On Google Photos, there's a neat feature.
Talking to me on the phone.
There's a neat feature about the idea of outlining and removing something. Yes, that you can do on the Apple's own photo setup. But in Google One, they have something called Magic Eraser, which I
Yes,
use from Geeks on Tour, and that
Snapseed.
really is great for eliminating all sorts of extra stuff from your photo. I use both
I've got that
the
app on
Apple
my
Photos
iPhone.
and Apple and Google Photos.
Yeah, sometimes you can take a picture of something and it'll be somebody's car in the way or a fire hydrant or something, and you can erase that fire hydrant and have a beautiful picture left. So
And you can have Google Lens is a great thing to identify everything that you see. You just take a picture of it and Google Lens will identify exactly what it is, or it will also translate it if it's in a foreign language. There's just amazing things that you can do. The Android has an equivalent, and of course, our experts, Jim and Chris Gould, will be coming in on us soon, and we'll be able to, get them to discuss everything.
It's amazing. I mean, the Apple phone is so intelligent in the watch, but so is the Samsung phone and watch and so forth. They all kind of do the same thing if you research it.
They have to.
Yeah,
Yeah, that Find My feature has been really useful, especially once I learned about the sound part of it, because we were missing a phone one time that was at my daughter's house, and it was buried down in between the seat and the console of the car, so you couldn't see it at all. But when we pinged the sound, we were able to find it. It's a great little feature.
It is.
It's also on the Apple Watch, by the way, You can
Yes.
simply click Find My and it will list the devices there. Normally, these are stored in the iCloud. It's very important that you back up your iCloud regularly to make sure that if anything happens, you can always retrieve it from the iCloud. And you can I pay 99 cents a month for 50 gigabytes extra. And believe me, it is really paid for itself over the time I've had it.
I hear
That's
that.
what I pay. That's what I pay as well. Now, regarding the backup, you can set your phone up so that when you plug your phone in at nighttime or put it on the charger at nighttime, it automatically backs the phone up to iCloud. And the iPad does the same thing. So it's an automatic backup if you set it up properly.
Mm-hmm. Just go to your settings there where your name is up at the top. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm looking up here. Yeah, at settings on the main screen, you'll see your name there and a profile of your photo. It says Apple ID, iCloud, media, and purchases. All you have to do is scroll down until you see iCloud, and then there is a area there where it says, back up your iCloud.
It should say iCloud backup.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I have iCloud Drive on as well, iCloud Mail, all kinds of stuff there. So if anything happens, you will have a copy of the latest version. In case you switch phones, then you can easily transfer one to the other through the iCloud. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
I was the one who mentioned about the two different setups for the health app.
Yes.
I do have a separate email address, so I could do mine and Paul's health things separately, but I'm not sure how to set the phone so that the health stuff specifically goes to my email and not his. We had a problem when we got him a Fitbit and he didn't use it. I wanted to switch it to me, and that's not easy at all.
I don't think you can, well, if you're using the same email address, it just simply won't work.
So if I use my own email address, can I do it then?
Yes.
Okay.
But the question, I think, is whether she can transfer what is already assigned to one email address to separate it now and send it to her own email address.
Correct, Carol.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Good to see you again. Hear you
Yeah.
again, Carol.
Another
I
whole
just got
session.
Stuff in the reporter today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really would have to look at that, but I really think you'd have trouble trying to transfer things back and forth if it can be done at all, which I doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Morning, Carol.
Okay, all right,
When I'm
folks.
trying to remove the background from a photo, I can get the aura to happen and goes all around the image, but I can't get it to actually remove the background. What am I doing wrong?
Well, once you get the aura going around the photo, you should be able to copy it or on 17 send it to a sticker or whatever.
So once the aura goes around, you hit copy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
new screen.
You did-
Paste.
Yeah.
And then
You
open
copy
it
it,
in
then you can
something
go to-
else.
Yeah, then you go to Pages or whatever and paste it.
It's a hit or miss thing. It's not working every time. It's tough to even get it to access at
Okay.
times.
Needs more
Because
coffee.
I've never had it fail. to be
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Me either.
Before I close, thank you, Jerry. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attendance.
Good
and your
job, sir.
friendship. Let's
Good
give him a,
job.
let's give him
thanks a
a
lot.
sitting ovation, everybody.
It's always,
Stay
it's
dry
always
in
fun.
Arizona.
It's
Now
always
you-
fun talking to you guys. I got to tell you, one time Barry had me do a presentation. I had to get up like at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm glad you waited for the time change. So it saved me an hour.
Great.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll have to
Yeah.
speak to Father Time about that.
Yeah,
Great.
you will, because we don't
He's
change
not up.
times in Arizona.
He's not
so.
up either. He retired.
Hey, guys, I'm
back
gonna go
in
ahead and sign
Florida
off.
now.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
see you
you.
December 8th.
Thank you
Send
so
me the
much.
link and I'll see you December 8th.
You're on.
It's a
Thank
date.
you, guys.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Carol, you have anything that you'd like to mention at this point?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Carol. We missed you.
Thank you. So I only heard the last part of his presentation, and I just want to retract what I said to Barry about the fact that I'm not an eye person particularly, although I have an iPad. And so I didn't have interest in this presentation, but I have to say, and I'm sorry that he left before I had a chance to say it to him, but the little bit I saw, I thought was absolutely excellent. And both for eye users and as a really good way of showing potential features that can be found on Android or other devices. Like I think, Irving asked about the other tag systems. And, there've been various questions about what you can find on Android or other devices. So, I think that's all good. I think I'll talk to Barry later about things to include in his article for the reporter, because I think it's important to be able to tell people the kinds of things that you are discovering, especially in a presentation like this, which was so rich, so that people can then go to the video and look at it and go, wow, that club's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that we target our presentation to our audience, their particular needs. Not everybody is an Apple user, so we know that they probably won't attend or have any enthusiasm for it. But we are taking this format to a new level on December 8th. Mark this down for the next class. December 8th at 10 a.m. will be the final presentation for 2023. We intend to develop a forum, a chat, simply you chatting with a panel of experts on questions that you have for the particular device, for Android, for Apple, for tablets, laptops, computers, and Chromebooks. I know, how many of you have Chromebooks? Raise your hand, please. Or would be interested in knowing about Chromebooks? Okay. We're going to try and put that together from now on, focusing on what you want to know.
And let us know.
Right, we'll let you know. And
No, you let us know.
okay, I will. Should you buy something or not? Is something better than something else? How do you organize your files and folders? Things of that nature. Yes, Irving.
There's an element of sadness in with regard to Carol's remarks about the presentation, and that is that so many of us have older iPhones
Mm,
that won't accept iOS 17,
Correct.
and yet they haven't because so many of them are being dropped. And what I did is I happen to to look, and it looks like everything's being dropped up to iPhone 10.
Mhm.
So if you own a phone that's iPhone 10 or less, you're not going to get any of these advantages, and your phone will stop updating those phones.
Yeah.
yep.
And I
And
have
it's,
yeah, I have an SE, and I'm not sure where it falls within the realm also, but it will accept some and not others.
right.
You can find that information on apple.com's Apple site. Will tell you which phones are accepted, which are not. What they always drop is, it's like a life cycle. It just goes so long, and then they drop the older phones. But unfortunately, a lot of people find themselves in that position. But
They also, the newest, this iOS 17 may be the cause of a problem I ran into yesterday, where I suddenly was asked to sign in all over again
uh-huh,
for Facebook, but only on my iPad, which is the newest of my gadgets.
Mm,
And I got worried that I had been hacked on the iPad when I contacted my support person, namely my daughter, the librarian expert. She suggested that it was the update, which was only showing on my newest gadget,
hmm
and that the other things, weren't getting that part of the update. So nothing needed to happen on
Yeah.
them. I just
Had to
signed,
be,
I
yeah, they
didn't
had to be
have to re-sign in.
linked to your other devices so they can talk to each other.
well, folks, this was an excellent meeting. And
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you all.
what we're doing right now is exactly what we should be doing all the time, getting your ideas on things that we can't guess. And as Abe Lincoln said, you can please all of the people some of the time and some of the people all of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. But that doesn't mean it isn't on our agenda. You'll find out on December 8th. It will be like a holiday type thing, but you can even dress up for the holiday if you'd like. But I
Wear
think
your
it's,
Apple Watch.
and I don't know if we could return to the classroom. I'm sure many of you may be hesitant given the circumstances of, but that is not something that we can ignore any longer. I'm going to explore everything I possibly can to keep this club alive. And it makes me very proud to be president. You give me my energy. The Lord and you, in that order, give me my strength. There are times when I just wanted to give up and throw in the towel, and I won't do it.
You're the
I'm
foundation,
going,
Barry. You're the
I'm going,
foundation.
I'm going down with the ship.
Ship's not
That's
going down, Barry. Don't go
right,
down, man. Ship's
right.
not going down.
Okay, I have a Titanic headache right now. It's all
Okay,
right.
you go. And I got another call coming.
And Judy has her hand up.
Judy, go ahead.
So a few years ago, I decided to upgrade from iPhone 7 to 13 because my battery power was lowering to, I think it was 83%. And it was already my second battery.
Mhm.
So my comment to the people who still have the older phones is Black Friday is coming up in another week, and a number of the carriers are offering deals to upgrade not to 15, but you can go to 13 or 14, whatever. So the prices are lower and you still get a guarantee on the phone. You might want to consider it And no, I don't have any stock in the company.
Right, well, you can check that out on, check with your carrier to see if the AT&T or T-Mobile, Verizon, they've all got tremendous things right now, and I believe the SE is still getting the updates. And the reason it's important to change is because even if you're getting a phone, you must be certain that it will receive security updates. Otherwise, you're very vulnerable.
And you want to
Yeah.
make sure you're getting a 5E phone. So, you can only go back so far,
Mhm.
and that's going to continue to change. So and
Good advice.
Irving had talked about the fact that his iPad particularly, and I have an iPad also, will not, there's almost nothing that can be done using it these days. So, I think we're going to see that kind of obsolescence more and more, which is part of the reason that people will be getting multiple devices. So, you'll see people picking up Fire tablets and other tablets that particularly on Black Friday and approaching the holidays that are, at bargain prices.
And there'll be a plethora of devices and that address accessibility. That is one of the big hot button topics today, of which Don is a recognized expert. So don't ignore those things. We're going to send this article today to the reporter, and it will be published probably the first week of December, well before we meet on December 8th. And we're going to put in a lot of things that will draw people in. And the things that will really draw people in is meeting their needs, not mine, not an individual's needs, but a group's needs. We're going to focus on a panel of experts. We're working on that. I'll be working on that all through from today on up until the last minute. And I thank you all for attending. This was a very interesting and informative meeting. I wish you all continued the health, best of health and happiness, and have a wonderful, pleasant, bountiful Thanksgiving holiday. I hope there's more turkeys on the table than sitting around it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh,
me too.
And
All wish.
that's right. And please be safe and healthy. That's the most important thing to me. I might just say, I appreciate you and those who have donated to us. I appreciate that, but we really need what we had today. This is the most people we've had in 2 weeks or two.
Within
Right.
10 minutes.
We're all back.
Okay.
Well,
So I want to wish all of you the best. I love you and wish you again the best of health. And let's say goodbye to each other.
Bye, Barry.
This
Bye.
meeting,
Happy Thanksgiving,
Bye.
all.
thank you, Carol, myself, and Don, and anybody else. We're going to form a little group where we're going to be working out everything that we're going to present. I thank Carol again for her
I have to go. Bye.
participation. Okay,
Bye,
bye-bye.
Bernice.
Hold on, I'm going to go out, and we'll
Yeah.
see you December 8th.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Barry, I'd like to hang too, but I have to go. That other discussion I was telling you about that I have to have, it's coming up. So I've got to go do that.
Okay,
But-
we're gonna end right now. So
Okay, so,
wait.
but yeah, we need to finish up on this. Have a good Thanksgiving, my brother. And I'll talk to you before then.
Right. God bless. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right, dude.